Welcome to worship on this Lord's Day. Our scripture today is from the 25th chapter of Matthew, verses 31 to 46. When the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate the people one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He'll put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. And then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" And the king will reply, "Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." And then he will say to those on the left, "Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes, and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, and you did not look after me." And they also will answer, "Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and did not help you?" And he will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me." And then they will go away to eternal punishment, but the righteous to eternal life. The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Hi, I'm here with the Jamaica mission trip team. I've got Bill Clute and Bruce McCall with me, and we're here to talk a little bit about our experience of being in Jamaica this year. This past February, we went to Jamaica together for a mission trip. Can you talk a little bit about the organization that we traveled with?
Sure. The organization we traveled with is called One by One to Jamaica. It was founded by Henry and Linda Schaefer, who reside in Du Bois, Pennsylvania. They started the charity around 30 years ago, and they're still actively involved in the mission. We've been fortunate that the 3 years I've gone, they've traveled with us, so it's been nice to learn the history and unique aspects of the mission trip, having them there. It really got started, I guess, with Henry taking his desire to take his sons there to experience poverty and have a different perspective. They started going in response to Hurricane Gilbert, which pounded Jamaica pretty bad back in late 80s, early 90s. The ministry has grown over the years. In addition to mission house that they have there, they have a store that's open year-round, tutoring center, and the tutoring center doubles as a church facility on Sundays. The problem is they're outgrowing that facility, and so there's talk or plans of building a full-time church on the grounds that are owned by One by One to Jamaica. The other thing to note is that One by One to Jamaica is the largest employer in Harmons. Whenever there's not a mission team there, the economy suffers in that community. So by going there, we're not only providing jobs to members of the community, we're also contributing donations that we take with us to the store that they then resell at a nominal fee for the community. And through our faith, just building a stronger community there.
Bruce, you already mentioned that you've been there about 3 years. Bill, how about you? How many years have you been to Jamaica?
I think this year was my 8th or 9th. I was trying to figure it out. I know there's a couple of years I skipped. So yeah, the first year I went was 09, skipped a year, and then it's changed a little bit during that time. The store was run differently when I first went. There was, they made some upgrades and it worked really well. they built a new store 3 years ago, and so that's been really nice. It supports the community, but also employs some people full time.
The ministry goes back into the 90s. When did our congregation start going there?
I think as far as the whole group, I think '09. Gilbert went earlier one year, but I think '09 was the first time that we went as a group.
Now, not everyone does the exact same thing on the team. So what did you get to do this year?
So one of the big things that we typically do as a group is to build homes. So we worked on a foundation. I got to work on a foundation this year, but actually worked on 2 different houses. We also visited infirmary. What county or each province in the island of Jamaica has its own infirmary. There are people there with various disabilities and physical and mental limitations. We visit there. We also had the chance to visit an orphanage. That was a new experience for me, as well as we spent a little time in one of the open air markets in one of the nearby cities.
And Bill, how about you? What projects did you get to work on?
Worked on both homes. I didn't work on a foundation. And this is the first time I got to do the faith walk. So that was a new experience for me, and that was a good experience where we, local Jamaican, takes you around the community, and he knows everybody. Everybody knows him. And you stop and talk with different ones, and get to share your faith, but they also get to see where they are. And so that was a challenge, but it was also very interesting. And to see, the first encounter we had was a young lady who said that pastor at one of the churches told her that she wasn't dressed properly. That happens more often than we think. And so she didn't feel comfortable going back there. So hopefully she can find a church where she's comfortable. And there are churches that aren't quite that legalistic.
Yeah, I got to work on House 2. I never worked on the foundation or House 1, but also got to go on the Faith Walk, and then I did some tech support for the mission. I thought particularly about the infirmary. In a lot of ways, it's very similar to some of the history of county homes and state homes that we've had here in Pennsylvania. That one of the things that we learned was that a lot of times the people that when they get dropped off there, they never see their family again. And truthfully, that's not a lot different than a lot of nursing homes and county and state homes are here either. Families just don't visit nearly as often as they should. The other thing I got to do was school tutoring. Decided that's not for me. Most of the ones who went had a great experience with it. It was a little disorganized for my tastes, and again, I just kind of felt very much out of my element at that point. But neat to see the kids, neat to see the school, to see the school environment, and again, be with a couple of team members there from our overall team that I got to know a little bit better in the course of being there with them for that time. So glad I had the experience. Don't need to worry about it in future trips. Now, you both are sponsors. So what does that involve, and how long have you been a sponsor?
The sponsorship program involves monthly financial support for children to go to school. School's free in Jamaica. However, parents are required to provide a uniform, transportation, which is typically a taxi. There are no school buses in Jamaica. And then also a meal for the day. So if a family cannot afford to pay for those things for the children, then the children simply don't go to school. And there's a lot of children, unfortunately, that don't have the opportunity to go to school. So the sponsorship assists the families in that way. We became sponsors in 2018, the first year that Kelly and I both went. So we've been sponsoring almost 3 years.
Yeah, I didn't find the date when we started. It's the year that Daryl and Colleen Barnett went, and our group talked about it, and 4 of us decided to go together. So it would have been Allen's and Diane White and Barnett's and myself. So we've been sponsoring a girl called Acadia. Oldest sister is sponsored by someone who's been on our teams before, but she wasn't this year, but a lady from Texas. And so quite often we would meet during the week. We'd get a chance to meet Acadia's family. And so I think we started when she was in 2nd grade. and she's now in high school. So that's how long we've been doing it. But just to give an example, they have to keep their grades up. Katie has two older sisters. The one sister has not been able to keep a sponsor because she has not kept her grades up. Her older sister is now nursing, and the middle sister struggled with her schoolwork.
What was your best memory of this year's trip?
I'll just start by saying that we certainly missed Gilbert this year. Gilbert's been a large part of this mission and organizing this trip year after year. So it was definitely a different experience without him. I think for me, it was meeting some new people. Congregation from Olean, New York joined us this year. Great getting to meet them, and also just meeting people that we've met the prior years we've been there. And I guess also just experiencing the trip with Alan for the first time.
I think one of the most meaningful things was the faith walk, to be able to share your faith with others, and then also to listen to them and to others of our team share. And every year there's new people, and so it's nice to meet some new people. Like Bruce said, the group from Olean, and then there's a lot of new faces from Du Bois, and their group is actually smaller this year. I think one of my neat experiences is just spending time with Cole, developing a friendship with him, and just having a good time with Cole.
Yeah, probably for me, the trip overall was a great trip, great experience. Enjoyed the kind of work that we did throughout the time. Sorry that I didn't get a chance to make it to some of the other properties. At least until dedication day at the end. Probably the best memory really was the evenings after all the activity was done and getting to sit with the teenagers. I was the first adult to get grafted into the group. There were a couple of others later on in the week that did manage to get grafted in as well, but had a great crew of teenagers there. Didn't know any of them before I got there. And they just kind of adopted me and let me be there with them, and had a good experience with doing that. Some good conversations that boiled around at different points during the week with some of the kids. Some of them have stayed in touch with me since as well, and so that's been kind of fun to see. Bill, I know you've been on a number of other mission trips across the years. Any idea how many places you've been to?
I know I've been on more than 20 trips: Haiti, Mexico, Alabama, Mississippi, South Dakota, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina. North Carolina, I think 3 times. Mexico, 5 or 6 times.
So for you, what sets the Jamaica experience apart from all the other trips?
I think because we've built relationships there, the Jamaicans remember you. And so, a lot of times I'll say, I'll tell them who I am. They say, oh yeah, we know. They remember you. And like Big Man is the one who has taken on the role of leading us on the faith walk. My first year was his first year working on a crew. And so he was on construction for a long time. It's neat to see how, his faith has grown. And so now he's a leader at the faith walk. So I think just having that relationship, one's like Big Man, and it's really meaningful.
Now, Bruce, had you had other mission trip experiences?
I have not. I've not traveled to any other destinations for mission. However, since going to Jamaica 3 years ago, I've tried to get more involved in local missions, particularly through Serve Erie, participating in a couple of their activities on a Saturday or different things that they're doing.
Very good. Yeah, in my experience, I've done probably more local missions in the long run. Have done some Habitat for Humanity builds, both in Pittsburgh area and down in North Carolina as well. The neat thing I see about mission trips is that, especially when you have an international mission trip experience, it just kind of opens the door to see what the possibilities are, and causes a person to start thinking about their own faith journey and how can we be involved in missions locally. And certainly there are a lot of opportunities to do that right here in this area. So what should a first timer know before they go?
So for me, I would say if you're even remotely considering it, just do it, and you'll be glad you did. It's not a cliche to say that it'll change your life by changing your perspective, reminding you what's truly important. So the poorest of the poor in America have so much more than the people of Jamaica, some of the people of Jamaica. The 1 by 1 to Jamaica motto is changing lives by changing lives. It's a very simple motto, but it's very true. And I didn't realize how true it really was until I got back and had time to reflect on the mission trip.
And Bill, how about you?
I think things to expect. It's especially coming from winter weather. It's going to be warm, but yet it's comfortable in the evenings and nights. And the people are very friendly. And one of the great advantages in going to Jamaica is they do speak English compared to going to some of the other countries where French or Spanish. Like what Bruce said, it's going to make a change in your perspective on a lot of things.
I think for me, one of the things I'd say as one who was just a first timer this time is to say, you probably should have told me to bring shorts instead of long pants more. I don't know where I picked up doing the long pants, and it was okay, but it was a little warm some days. Otherwise, I think you guys did okay by me. I knew enough to ask the questions that were on my mind and to think about that part. Yeah, it is a different environment than some in terms of we bring a lot of food with us that will basically become our prepared meals through the time, and we take the maximum number of bags that we can take, not with our own stuff, but with the food for the group, and then donations that will go to the store. And so, learning to pack minimally is a helpful thing as well. So when will the next trip be?
Lord willing, February 2021.
And what's the process then for someone who wants to go?
So they could reach out to Kelly, Bill, Alan, or myself.
And how else could we become involved to support the mission team or to support this ministry?
Well, we've done a lot of different kinds of fundraisers. This year, with only 3 of us going, we didn't have to use as much money. But yeah, we try to do enough fundraisers so that anybody who wants to go can go. They don't have to worry about the money. Those who want to pay for the whole thing can, but we try to do it so that people can go. I think that's sort of been an unwritten philosophy, but that's what we've worked with over the years. Just because of all the things going on with COVID-19, probably our first fundraiser won't be until we do something in the fall and do our auction in the fall.
Is there anything else that either of you would like to share in this moment about this ministry?
So I guess what I would say, Alan, is I thought I knew what to expect when I went for the first time in 2018, but I really had no idea how much it would change my life. On that trip, being away from the day-to-day distractions, and thanks to one of the Jamaicans who Bill referenced, Big Man, on the faith walk, just seeing how much faith he had and the fact that he's only been a Christian for 2 years really caused me to look at myself and do some deep introspection. Quite honestly, I didn't like what I saw. I called myself a Christian, considered myself a Christian most of my adult life, but I wasn't always living the Christian life. I've made a lot of positive changes in the past 3 years. For example, reading the Bible on a more routine basis, spending time in prayer, listening to Christian music, and other personal habits that I won't get into. But it's just made a lasting impression on my life and really changed it for the better. And I feel a lot closer to God, and it's just a neat experience that, for whatever reason, whenever I've traveled there, I've just felt closer to God. I think it's part of it is the quietness and the removal from, the electronics and the day-to-day routine that we get ourselves into. A very good experience for myself, and just would encourage others to if you're considering it, to do it.
It's work. I mean, you can do things that aren't heavy labor, but there's always, so anybody can go. There are some jobs that are physically challenging, but it's very spiritual, uplifting, good for your faith walk. But I think, one of the things I just, want to encourage people to say, it's a lot of fun. We have a great time together. There's a core group from Du Bois that comes every year. There's our core group, and there's a group from Summit, and we've developed relationships over the years with those people, and it's we have a lot of fun together, and we also have a lot of fun with the Jamaicans. They love to laugh, not only with you but at you, and so we have a lot of fun together.
Well, thank you both for sharing in this time together as we've talked about the Jamaica mission team experience with One by One, and Godspeed as we move ahead.